The Shinju was introduced into the Boruto manga as the next big threat. Going into Two Blue Vortex, we knew they would have to introduce a bigger and badder threat, because the closest thing we had to an antagonist at that time was Code. Many people, including myself, already knew Code just didn't have the necessary power or ability to play such a role. Our main characters were rapidly catching up to him in terms of fighting strength, and Damon, who is now on the side of Konoha for the time being, completely destroyed him at his strongest form. Code was losing more and more as the chapters went on, losing more aura by the day, and we knew this pattern wouldn't stop anytime soon. It wasn't until Boruto completely destroyed him and single-handedly removed him from the story when we officially came to the realization that Code just couldn't be that guy anymore. Without a proper antagonist or someone or something to put pressure on the main cast, the story wouldn't do too well, and everyone knew that. And then the very next chapter, we got what we wanted, and it wasn't just one of them. Since the Shinju were introduced into the story, they instantly imprinted their mark on the story by putting some noticeable pressure on Boruto, the person who just made Code look like an absolute buffoon, and ended up forcing him to retreat back to KASHIN Koji. The Shinju checked all the boxes when it came to making a good antagonist for this specific story. They're strong enough to challenge our protagonists, they're interesting characters, and they don't feel forced or bland. And most importantly, they put an insane amount of pressure on everyone because of their constant state of evolution. The longer that they stay in this world, the greater the threat they become, until they eventually become full-blown divine trees and suck the life out of the planet. So it does feel like everyone is on a time crunch. They have no time to waste. It's been approximately 8 chapters since the Shinju were born, and nobody but Boruto has been able to do any considerable damage to them. Enough damage to make them feel uneasy or threatened. And the strongest one, who is of course JURA, hasn't even fought seriously yet. So it looks like the Shinju aren't really going away anytime soon, considering how chapter 12 ended. Boruto is hurt, and the other Shinju hasn't even started fighting yet. I can see them dealing with the Shinju at least for the next 15 to 20 chapters or so. Hopefully this fight doesn't last that long, but I'm talking about for the overall threat of the Shinju. I can see that being a thing in the story for a bit longer. That's kind of ironic considering everyone was complaining about the series being too fast-paced and hypothesized to end within 50 chapters. The pace is actually perfect, considering the Shinju might not even be the main villains of the story like we all thought. Okay, let me explain. In the latest chapter of Boruto Two Blue Vortex, Boruto just defeated Hidari with a powerful Rasengan Uzuhiko that essentially wasn't even charged up to the max. And real quick, I did make a video on the Uzuhiko explaining its true power and why it's the strongest technique ever shown in the Naruto series. If you want to find out why, or at least care to hear about my perspective of it, then click the video in the top right corner. But back on topic, when Boruto defeated Hidari, he received what Kashin Koji calls a Thorn Soul bulb from his body. The Thorn Soul is most likely a power source for the Shinju. It most likely stems from the people that were absorbed and turned into a tree, meaning each one of the Shinju should and probably do have one. These things are probably similar to the chakra fruit in some way, because it's still heavily related to the Tentails, the creature that produces the chakra fruit. However, a Thorn Soul bulb is probably a little bit different. How different exactly wasn't explained yet, so if I do try to explain it, it'll be considered just headcanon. But is that gonna stop me from explaining it anyway? Probably not. So, the chakra fruit is produced by a god tree, divine tree, whatever you want to call it. We know the Tentails acts as the tree's seedling, and in order for it to start that seedling process, you must feed it the life of an Otsutsuki. The healthier the sacrifice, the stronger the chakra fruit will be. The chakra fruit contains all the data of every life form that ever lived on the planet, including other Otsutsuki like Ishiki, Momoshiki, and Kinshiki. And now you can probably see why Earth is being targeted so much as a place to plant the god tree. I mean, to be blunt, whoever eats a chakra fruit produced by Earth will gain extraordinary overwhelming divine power, enough power to rival that of Shiba Otsutsuki. So let's look at it like this. If a divine tree sucks all life from a planet and produces a chakra fruit that contains all life of that planet, then a Thorn Soul is probably a much smaller version of that. Not in size, but in power. Like I said earlier, the Shinju are clones of those that were absorbed and became a tree. everyone but JURA, it seems. The tree acts as a smaller god tree. It absorbs the life force out of that person and creates these beings that has the DNA of those that were absorbed. It's probably much deeper than what I just explained. I suspect Code making the clawgrams using his blood as well as his karma also plays a major factor in that too. But to keep it simple, the Thorn Soul is like a chakra fruit, but on a much lower scale in power. These Thorn Souls also act as a key to save those that were absorbed as well, according to KASHIN KOJI. But my question is, can they be consumed in any way? Maybe eaten, absorbed, implanted? It's very possible that this could be the case. And if they are eaten, how would it affect those that are still absorbed, as well as the person who ate it? Well, we most likely already know how it would affect the person who ate it. I'm guessing a major power amp on top of their own power, or maybe something along those lines. And it would also be cool if that person would gain the abilities of the person that was absorbed, just like how Hidari was able to perform the Chidori. I mean, that probably makes the most sense to me. However, currently the Thorn Soul is in JURA's possession. He can do whatever he wants with it. He can consume it, use it to revive Hidari, or the worst case scenario, destroy it. Well, maybe destroying it is probably what Boruto was gonna do to save Sasuke anyway. So maybe destroying it doesn't sound too bad of an option now that I'm thinking about it. But either way you look at it, they need to retrieve it from JURA or else nobody gets saved. Other than JURA though, something else has been on my mind heavy. What if these Thorn Souls become the very reason why the future of the Shinobi era is threatened of extinction? I'm guessing you all know who and what I'm talking about at this point. You've seen the thumbnail and title of the video. I'm of course talking about Kawaki. Kawaki's character is in a rough spot right now. As you can see, he constantly gets thrown around and trashed by the stronger characters in the series. Boruto, JURA, yeah, you get it. He's taken a lot of L's recently. He even got called Otsutsuki fodder by JURA. If that's not disrespectful, then I don't know, man. But as a character who aims to destroy all the Otsutsuki, Shinju, and unalive Boruto, he's massively underpowered to perform such feats. We went over possible ways Kawaki could gain power on this channel before. Enough power to where he could become a threat to someone like Boruto, perhaps even surpass him. And all the ways we discussed eventually came down to him simply upgrading his body through artificial means. Whether Amato upgrades his body or he absorbs someone or something to gain power. Even though Kawaki is supposed to mirror Naruto in some aspects while Boruto mirroring Sasuke, Kawaki is still his own character. They're both driven by different things and have a very different personality. Therefore, the method Kawaki would use to get stronger isn't gonna be by training of any sort. It's gotta match his character's narrative. I mean, his whole body is classified as a scientific ninja tool, and the source of his power, the karma, isn't even natural either. His karma was made by Amato. Everything revolving around his character is not natural, which probably means even if he does train like Naruto did, it probably wouldn't be as effective for him as it was for Naruto. So when I seen these Thorn Souls, I pretty much knew they would play as an instant candidate for a way for Kawaki to get stronger if possible. It's a fast way for him to get power too. And him being an Otsutsuki himself, it's not an abnormal way for him to get power. The possibility of this wouldn't be anytime soon, but perhaps when the threat of the Shinju is gone and JURA is defeated. Perhaps instead of using these Thorn Souls to save everyone that were absorbed, he consumes the Thorn Souls to gain power. It would have to be whenever all of the Shinju are destroyed though, and possibly all collected in one place, or maybe fused into one Thorn Soul. I mean, this way Kawaki gets the most power possible from the Shinju, and you instantly create another threat that's probably the strongest in the series. And yeah, I said it. If Kawaki does consume these Thorn Souls, I can confidently say he'll have enough power to become the strongest in the verse, hands down. Kawaki already made it clear to us that he'll do everything in his power to accomplish his goals. He doesn't believe in morals or going quote unquote too far. He's trying to unalive his brother just because he's an Otsutsuki just like him. So that right there should just tell you he doesn't really care about Sasuke, Moegi, and anyone who got turned into a tree. This is something he wouldn't think twice to do. He's already a key player in defeating the Shinju because of his Sukuna Hikona ability. All he needs to do is have a favorable situation where all the Thorn Souls are collected in one place, preferably all with JURA. Defeat JURA with the help of Boruto and the others, and consume the Thorn Soul that will be produced from his body. It's definitely a long shot, but if Kawaki can just get his hands on these, I think he'll definitely do what we all think he'll do. So that's definitely something to look out for in the future of the story. But another person to possibly look out for is KOJI. I mean, he's still somewhere out there, and he's in the same situation as Kawaki. He can't accomplish his goals simply because he's too weak. You can make a case for KOJI getting his hands on the Thorn Souls as well. Now, for his case, it'll have more to do with his claw mark Shinjutsu that he shares with the Shinju. This could allow him to move discreetly and wait for a moment to strike. Probably once the Shinju are weakened to a point where he could just take them on directly or deliver the final blow like Kawaki just did in chapter 12. As you can see, most of these scenarios I'm coming up with really relies on someone else doing most of the work for them, because we know they just can't do it themselves. It's already been stated multiple times that neither one of them stand a chance against the Shinju. Actually, the scenarios themselves don't really matter as much. What really matters is KOJI or Kawaki just getting their hands on the Thorn Souls. That's the only thing that matters at this point. So regardless of how you get it, if they somehow do get it, you can't deny they would be an overwhelming force in the story again like they once were. As two characters who have the biggest goals out of everyone not named Boruto, it's necessary that they either gain enough power for them to become relevant again, or Kishimoto should just remove them from the story altogether. But since we know that's not going to happen for Kawaki's case, KOJI somehow still remains the odd man out. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Is Kawaki or KOJI going to use the Thorn Souls to become relevant again? And if they are, then how do you think they'll go about doing it? I'll be reading all the comments for a while because I'm genuinely interested on how you guys perceive this video. A lot of different opinions and views. I need to gain some different insight on this situation. But anyway, if you like this video and want to see more like this in the future, then please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss another video like this. And until my next video, I'll see y'all boys and girls later. And I'm out. Peace.